Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. So this week's focus, of course, continues to be standard. We're now a week removed from Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad. The market and the community has time to digest what they saw. The decks that saw a lot of coverage, obviously on the stream, are going to get a little bit of a push. The cards within those decks going up in value. Some of the cards that, even though they're still seeing tons of play, didn't get maybe quite as much coverage. We're seeing a downturn in some of those cards. Now, having said that, we're also going to look at Modern and Legacy as we always do. So let's jump in. Let's see what's going on. We'll start off with the top 5 standard cards that lost value this week. Coming in, number 5 is Thing in the Ice, losing $1.44 to $9.90. Now, this card is still seeing standard play. However, it didn't see a whole lot of coverage over the Pro Tour. There are decks, control decks, still running this and will continue to run this, but it is losing a little bit of ground this week. Keep an eye on this one. If this card falls around the $5, $6, $7 range, might be a good pickup. Number 4 is Archangel of Tides, losing $183 to $19.79. Now, this is a huge piece of the mono white humans deck, and it's seen tons of play. It was actually the second most played deck at the Pro Tour last weekend, and you wouldn't know about watching the coverage that was second and one was Bant Company. You didn't see a whole lot of those decks on camera, mostly because those were kind of known quantities, and they wanted to bring us some decks that were newer brews, which totally makes sense. But because of that, I think this one fell off some players' radars. So watch this card. It will probably continue to go down a little bit, but as long as mono white is a thing, which, let's face it, it's going to be, and there's a strong fan base around that archetype as well, this card is still going to do just fine. You might be able to steal a few copies of this if it gets down to around $15. Number 3 is Arlen Cord, losing $2.39 to $18.35. Here's a card that is seeing standard play, but more interesting maybe is seeing some modern play in zoo decks. Even some legacy zoo decks have been running this, which feels a little weird, but is actually kind of exciting. Keep an eye on this card. It will probably continue to drop a little bit, but if you can get copies of this for $10, $15, it's probably a real good deal and maybe a decent long-term investment. Number 2 is Archangel Avacyn, losing $2.73 to $42.64. Again, still seeing tons of play in the humans decks, so don't feel like you have to sell your Avacyns. She just had a really big price spike early on. Now more packs are getting open. This is just normal stabilization, but this card's going to be a staple for some time. Coming in number 1 is Jace Avern's Prodigy, losing $3.46 to $81. Now, when Shadows over Innistrad was being spoiled, a lot of folks speculated, myself included, that Jace Avern's Prodigy might even get better because of Madness. Now, we kind of know that Madness isn't really affecting the meta as big as maybe we thought it would, due to probably good design balance. But what is really affecting Jace is the loss of the fetch lands in Standard. Without the fetch lands, it's a lot harder to flip Jace and takes away that kind of punch from being able to flashback a spell from your graveyard. So because of that, Jace losing a little bit of ground. However, is Jace still seeing tons of play? Absolutely. Now watch this card. I think by the time it gets out of Standard around rotation time, it could be down to around $60. Might be an okay pickup for a long-term investment because we know it's still going to see play in Modern. Alright, let's look at the top 5 standard cards that gained value this week. Coming in number 5, hey, Narset Transcendent, going up $187 to $11.60. Now, this is kind of exciting. This is a card that just never could find a home. It seemed like it had tons of potential, but it just never quite got there. Well, now there's an Esper control deck, which really feels more like a Super Friends deck and saw a little bit of play on camera at the Pro Tour. And because of that, Narset's getting a little bit of love, so that's nice to see. Now, granted, she doesn't have a whole lot of time left in the Standard environment. Once she rotates out, she'll probably go right back down to where she was. So if you're trying to pick up a Narset for your commander deck or something like that, it's probably not the time to do it. Number 4, Languish, going up $202 to $882. This card is a huge card right now in the meta main decks, but more so sideboards maybe. But this is going to help you deal with things like mono white humans, blue-white humans. It's going to deal with aristocrats pretty well. It's just doing a whole lot of things. This was a big card featured in John Finkel's deck that he played in the top 8, which was the Seasons Past deck. This is going to continue to go up in value. Number 3, Collected Company. This card's just a powerhouse. Now, Of course, it's featured in the Bant deck, which again was the most played deck at the Pro Tour. However, the Bant deck kind of got overshadowed by all the other new brews out there and actually didn't do well against some of those brews. Now, having said that, still got a Bant deck in the top 8. It's still finished very, very well, obviously. And because of that, Collected Company will still be in the spotlight. It also was featured in LSV's deck, which was the Aristocrats deck, which again I think captured a lot of people's imagination. A lot of folks want to build that deck, and because of that, we're seeing another spike in Collected Company going up 221 to 2418 this week. Now, watch this one. I think it's going to go up a little more, but I do think it's going to top out somewhere around the $25 to $30 mark. But long term, it will still be a good investment for modern decks. Number 2, Liliana Heretical Healer, up 256 to 2834. Now, this is another card really featured in, well, a few decks actually in the Pro Tour, but the most notable one, again, being the Aristocrats deck. Number 1 is Pyromancer's Goggles, going up 357 to 1750. Now, this one is, again, seeing play in a few different types of control builds, the most notable being the one Brad Nelson piloted into the top 8 of the Pro Tour. And because of that, this card, I think, will continue to increase in value. Top 5 modern cards that have lost value this week. Now, you're going to notice that the modern market, a little more mellow this week, not as volatile. It's kind of the calm now since the banned and restricted list changes have come out, and we're seeing a little bit of stabilization based off the spikes we saw previously. Coming in number 5 is Gaddock Teague, losing $1.16 to 2606. Great sideboard card, continues to be an amazing card in the format, so don't feel like you have to sell these. Number 4 is Ancestral Vision, Time Spiral version, going down 117 to 4688. Now, this was recently unbanned and, of course, recently spiked, and it's just stabilizing a little bit. It's still seeing play. It will continue to see play. Definitely no need to panic here. Number 3, Tezzeret, Agent of Bolas, losing 209 to 2525. Now, this again saw a huge spike due to the fact that players wanted to play this in the Thopter Foundry, sort of the meek decks, and those decks are out there. They're seeing play, but this is just normal stabilization. Number 2, Horizon Canopy, losing 412 to 7728, and this is just Horizon Canopy being Horizon Canopy. Every other week it goes up, it goes down. It pretty much stays between $70 and $80. Not too much more to say about it. And number 1 is Wheel of Sun and Moon, losing $5.28 to $18. This saw a huge spike last week. It's still seeing play. It will continue to see play, and really, let's face it, rare Shadow More cards that see play are good long-term investments. Keep an eye on this one. It'll probably drop a little more. You might be able to pick these up for $10, $15. It might not be a bad idea to do so. All right, let's look at some modern cards that gained value this week. Coming in number 5, well, not a huge gain, but it's a fetch land, Verdant Catacombs, going up 96 cents to 66.98. Number 4, Academy Runes, going up 107 to 2536. This is another card that sees play in some of those Thopter decks, but it also sees play in a number of other decks. So because of that, this will continue to, I think, slowly increase. Number 3 is Ensnaring Bridge, going up 131 to 4621. Now, the main reason that this is so high really is the Lantern Control decks, which continue to be incredibly popular. But at the same time, this is also seeing a little bit of play in some of those Thopter Foundry decks. Number 2 is Scalding Tarn, going up 210 to 87.87. Now, this actually tumbled quite a bit over the last few weeks. This was over $100 and starting to go back up again. Finally, number 1, Crucible of Worlds. Just can't keep this card down. This desperately needs a reprint. It's not that it's necessarily seeing tons of modern play, but it sees a lot of legacy play, and it sees a lot of casual play. You'll see this in a lot of different formats, and because of that, it just continues to gain ground. 10th edition, going up $1.73 to $72.69, where 5th Dawn increased $2.76 to $69.09. All right, so what's happening in Legacy? This is still the calm before the storm, I think, with Legacy. We saw some huge spikes when Eternal Masters was announced, and now we're seeing a little bit of price stabilization off of those spikes. However, we're getting close to cards being spoiled for Eternal Masters. Once that starts happening, the hype train will get going, and again, I think we're going to see a lot of volatility in this market. Coming in number 5 for cards that lost value is Taiga, losing 393 to 155.68. This is the unlimited version. You're going to notice 4 of the cards on our list are all dual lands that have recently spiked. Number 3, Unlimited Badlands, losing 689 to 134.96. Number 3, Unlimited Bayou, losing 793 to 241.46. And number 2, Unlimited Plateau, losing 919 to 152.02. Finally, number 1, Candelabra of Tawnos, not a dual land, but saw a huge spike last week. Now it's just going down 1640 to 363.22. All right, so what's hot right now in Legacy? Again, just cards that are just stabilizing. You're going to see more reserve list cards here. Coming in number 5, we have the Underground Sea Revised version, going up 325 to 342.16. I think you're going to start seeing that trend as the limited prices are just getting out of hand. Some players may feel like they can still afford the revised prices, although these prices are still very, very high. Number 4, Tropical Island. This time the revised version going up 384 to 222.61. The unlimited version going up 897 to 328.97. Number 3 is Tundra. This is the unlimited version going up 1016 to 357.45. Number 2 is Moat, 2126 increase to 365.18. Big fan favorite. Sees a lot of play in casual decks. Finally, number 1, somebody bought a Tabernacle this week as the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale goes up $70 to $9.50. We see this card every week, either on the top of the up or the down list. Next week it'll probably be back down, but this is safely an $800, $900 card. It doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Well, having said that, that's the market watch for this week. I'm excited to see what happens the next few weeks as we get closer and closer to Eternal Masters. We'll be here letting you know what's going on with the market. So until then, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day.
Hey, thanks as always for watching. This video, like all my videos, was made possible by the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Even a donation of $1 helps me to keep growing this community and creating better quality videos for all of you. Check out our Patreon page for exclusive giveaways and future goals for the channel. If you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the MTG news, spoilers, set reviews, product openings, or finance videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a good day.